MTV has announced the 2025 VMA nominations, and there's very little rock or metal. Ozzy Osbourne fans react to Rod Stewart's bizarre tribute video, and is Sleep Token really a metal band? All that and more on this week's episode of
The Jesse Lee Show. Oh, oh. The Jesse Lee Show. Oh, oh. The Jesse Lee Show. Oh, oh. The Jesse Lee Show. Jesse Lee Show.
Hey, it's me, Jesse Lee, aka Music News Daddy. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the Jesse Lee Show. I thank you. I appreciate you for pressing play on the Jesse Lee Show. I know you have a lot of options for your podcasting pleasure. I'm glad you chose this one. If you want to be a real full-fledged member of the Jesse Legion, then what you really need to do is bang your head on that follow button and that subscribe button, okay? That way you get notified, because every week I do this. Every week I sit here and I filibuster about some of the biggest topics in music news and just, bitch and rant about whatever. And so you want to be, notified when I do that, right? And also I drop, interviews with bands throughout the week as well, interviews with artists and bands. So you want to be up to date with that. The best way to do that is to bang your head on that subscribe button and that follow button. Also, if you are listening or watching on Spotify, Apple Music, please make sure to leave that 5-star rating. Helps out the show very much. And honestly, I do this all for the accolades. I really only have this podcast for praise and to be worshipped by the Jesse Legion. So without you, I am nothing. And I need your support. I need your love. I'm desperate for it. And speaking of awards and accolades and all that, MTV has announced the 2025 VMA nominations. And unsurprisingly, there is very little rock nominated and almost no metal music nominated, which is nothing new with the award shows, of course. I mean, that's kind of the deal for however long for all these mainstream, People's Choice Awards, VMAs, Billboard Awards. I mean, there's always a rock category, an alternative category. Sometimes there's a metal category. They get a whole separate category for metal, which is great. A lot of times it feels like almost like an afterthought or something that they feel like obligated to do. Like, so we have to mention some rock music in here. It almost feels like because those bands are never, the rock and metal bands are never nominated for the big awards with the main ones, but they always got segregated to their own little pocket category. And sometimes they don't even get aired as part of the full award ceremony if it's a televised event. Because a lot of times they don't even air the rock and metal categories. They'll announce them on socials like 6 hours before the pre-show even starts. So again, it feels kind of like, oh well, thanks for trying, I guess. Thanks for trying to throw us a bone, But that is kind of the deal with rock and metal music. And it's like I said in this interview I recently did with Cleveland.com, my local newspaper. It's a very big deal. I've been on plenty of online publications. I've been in plenty of physical media, but I'm in the local newspaper, baby. I am a bona fide celebrity in my area code, okay? So watch out. I'm about to get discounts at the local donut shop. I'm going to be signing autographs at the local Speedway gas station. Oh, yeah. Catch me in a Giant Eagle produce section being mobbed by fans after being written up in my local newspaper. But anyway, in this, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. There's a reason for all this. The reason, the interview I did with the newspaper, one of the questions they asked me was, is rock dead? And I said, no, rock is not dead. No matter what Gene Simmons says, no matter what Mr. Bassist from Kiss says, respect him and whatnot, but no, rock is not dead. Rock and metal has always existed kind of on the fringes of the mainstream, just kind of like outside of what is like, of what's in, what's popular. That's what rock and metal is. It's supposed to be rebellious, right? It's supposed to be counterculture. It's not supposed to be in the Gap jeans commercial or whatever. It's supposed to be kind of cool, kind of on the outside. So, and unfortunately, things that are really cool usually don't get nominated for awards unless it's like the Cool Guy Awards, which they should have. They should have the Cool Guy Awards. And as the person who just invented that, I feel like I should at least be considered, at least be nominated for one. But again, I still do think back to like the late 90s and the early 2000s. It did feel like rock and metal was a little more in abundance. There was more representation. I feel like I remember like Limp Bizkit and Korn, like a lot of new metal, especially back then, Rage Against the Machine being on there. I could just be thinking of all this. I could just be thinking of one segment on one year of the VMAs, honestly. I could just be, in my head, it was like multiple years, multiple shows. It could just been one segment. But I remember that going down. It was like the same year Eminem was there, Christina Aguilera. Like all the big pop artists were there. Christina Aguilera even went on stage with Fred Durst and did a song together. So, I mean, there was that cross-contamination of pop music, rock and metal. But again, there's I don't think that's going to be happening this year. Hopefully they air the categories for rock and metal. We're going to go through them. It did make me laugh, though. Not laugh, but it made me, not a lot makes me laugh. I'm a very serious person. It did make me wonder, though, why YouTube doesn't do a music video awards. You know, no shade to, you know, MTV, but I feel like people don't really go to MTV for their music videos anymore. Ironically enough, they would go there for, you know, reruns of ridiculousness, which is nothing to, you know, there's no reason not to watch ridiculousness. It's a quality TV show. It's like watching TikTok on your TV, but you know, someone else is curating the videos for you. But yeah, I don't understand why YouTube doesn't have their own version of the VMAs. I looked it up, and it turns out they did. I'm a dumbass. They did have their own version of it back in 2013 to, 2011 to 2013. Let me check this out. I want to be accurate here. Accurate, not Acura like the car. YouTube Music Awards, let's see. Those ran from, 2013 to 2015. So they only did them for 2 years, apparently. So over a decade ago is when they did the last one, March of 2015. I'm surprised. They must have not have been successful. The awards must have not gone well, or else they would have kept doing them, obviously. They must have not been making money. That's the only reason why they wouldn't have kept it going. But you would think that would be a slam dunk. You know, that's where people go for music videos is YouTube. Why wouldn't YouTube's music video awards take off? But although I didn't watch them, I didn't know they existed until about 10 minutes ago. So I guess that's the problem. They should bring it back, though, right? They should definitely bring back the YouTube Video Music Awards. Try it again. Give it another shot, guys. YouTube's a whole different landscape than it was in 2015. I think it would do well. And again, I think that's the spot that people are going for their music videos. But as far as MTV, we have the nominations. Lady Gaga leads the field. Lady Gaga has over a dozen nominations, followed by Bruno Mars with 11 nominations, Kendrick Lamar with 10 nominations, and then a bunch of other, you know, pop. We'll go through it later as well, but those are the big leaders. Those are the ones putting up the big numbers, the big points on the board. And these little Moon Man statues are going to be handed out during the VMAs, obviously, on September 7th. That's when the VMAs is going down in New York. It'll be on CBS and MTV with a simulcast event. They'll be on Paramount Plus, which you should get Paramount Plus if you don't already have it. Not for this, not for the MTV VMAs. You know, you can watch those, the recap later if you want, but you should get Paramount Plus for Beavis and Butthead because they're about to drop season 3, baby. Season 3 of Beavis and Butthead is so close, and Metallica is going to be in this season. I've said this before. I feel like the Beavis and Butthead reboot is very underrated. Obviously, the OG series of Beavis and Butthead, the first seasons back in the day, the old seasons of the show were fantastic, you know, untouchable. But this new reboot they did in the last few years, it's very good as well. It's very underrated. Not enough people are watching it. I'm trying to champion as much as possible because I don't want it to get canceled. I want to make sure enough people are watching Beavis and Butthead that Mike Judge is forced to keep making the show for the rest of his life until he is in some kind of fart-shaped coffin one day. But yeah, get Paramount Plus or don't. I don't really care. But if you want to watch the VMAs, that's an option. Ironically enough, they are not on YouTube. You can't stream on YouTube, apparently. MTV knows what they're doing there. So we're not going to go through all of them, but we'll go through some of the big ones here. And obviously, we'll talk about the one soul rock category that is nominated. So for Video of the Year, they got Ariana Grande with Brighter Days Ahead, Billie Eilish with Birds of a Feather, Kendrick Lamar, Not Like Us. Right away, I'm going to say Kendrick Lamar obviously is going to win that. Was there any music video or song bigger last year than Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us, especially that video? Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars with Die With a Smile, Rosé and Bruno Mars with APT, Apartment. Is it Apartment or is it APT? Or Apata? I know the song goes Apata, Pata, Ab. So are you supposed to call the song Apata? It's a cool song either way. Sabrina Carpenter with Man Child. Again, I like that song a lot too. I think it's a cool track. And The Weeknd, Playboi Carti with the song Timeless. Artist of the Year is going to nominate to Bad Bunny, Beyonce, Kendrick Lamar, Lady Gaga, Morgan Wallen, Taylor Swift, and The Weeknd. There's Taylor Swift. I'm surprised she wasn't in the first category. Maybe she didn't put out a video last year. But I feel like any award ceremony has to have Taylor Swift nominated, right? I think that's in the contracts for any award ceremony. Song of the year, the nominees are Alex Warren, Ordinary. God, what a perfect name for that song, Ordinary. If you have not heard this song, and I hate to dunk on it, I mean, I really do not like to dunk on pop or hip hop music at all, because I know, of course, being the rock and metal podcast show, it's very cliche for me just to shit on pop and hip hop and country, which I do enjoy a lot of stuff. But that song, Ordinary by Alex Warren, what in the Imagine Dragons core is that? That is the most basic. I do not understand how people enjoy that one. It's totally cool if you do. I just don't understand. Again, the song title fits. Anyway, Billie Eilish, Birds of a Feather. Let's see, Doshi, Anxiety, Ed Sheeran, Sapphire, Gracie Abrams, I Love You, I'm Sorry, Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars again with Dallas Smile, Lord with What Was That, Rosé and Bruno Mars again with Apta, Tate McRae with Sports Car, and The Weeknd and Playboi Carti again nominated with Timeless. I feel like people are going to clip out that part about me shit talking Alex Warren and Ordinary. I'm sorry. I don't know anything about Alex Warren. I'm sure he's a very nice person. I hope this doesn't hurt his feelings if he sees this. I just don't enjoy that song. Maybe he has other songs. Okay. I've not dove into the Alex Warren discography. You know, I haven't celebrated his entire catalog, so maybe there's another track on there that I might like. I don't enjoy that one. Okay. I'm sorry. We'll skip through the best new artist, best pop artist. It's all the same stuff. All the same. It's basically, that's the other problem with these award shows, is basically the same 5 or 6 artists just in rotation. You know, give or take 1 or 2 here. So let's get down to best alternative. This is a rough one. I guess these are technically alternative. Gigi Perez with Sailor Song. It's actually a good track. I actually do like that one. Imagine Dragons with Wake Up. Gotta throw Imagine Dragons in there. Imagine Dragon, you know what I'm gonna do. Lola Young with Messy. MGK and Jelly Roll with Lonely Road. Somber with Back to Friends. And the Marias with Back to Me. So that's the alternative category. Very little rock in there. Not even anything rock adjacent, to be honest. More country and hip hop than alternative. I guess Imagine Dragons we can kind of give a little bit. I mean, there's a guitar in the band at least, right? The Marias, yeah, then we'll give the Marias. That's alternative. Okay, so best rock category. Here we go. Best rock category. Coldplay, All My Love. First of all, I just want to say I love how Coldplay has become shorthand for cheating on your wife or husband. You know, that's something I did not see coming. Now people are, if you say you're going to a Coldplay concert, it used to be like if you said you were going to a Coldplay concert, people were like, okay, dude, have fun at the Coldplay concert. I mean, I do like the song Yellow, but have fun at the Coldplay concert. Now, if you go to a Coldplay concert, it's like, are there problems at home? Are you guys having issues? Is there a money thing? What is it? Do you not have enough, communication in your marriage? Is that why you're going to a Coldplay concert? Evanescence with Afterlife is the next one that's nominated. That song's from the Netflix show Devil May Cry, which was also a comic book, anime, something like that. I can't remember exactly, but if I don't at least mention that part, then those Devil May Cry fans will come after me. They're already gonna come after me because I've not. Let me look this up real quick just to make sure. My editor Jack, you can keep all this because I want them to know that I went through my due diligence here. So Devil May Cry is an anime based off of a video game. That's what it was. It was an animated series based off of a video game. Okay, sorry. I just want to come correct here. The next nomination goes to Green Day with One Eyed Bastard. That was like a B-side track, I believe. That wasn't really even a full. Like that was off of their. What was that off of? That was off of a deluxe album, right? Yeah, well, maybe it was off the original version of Saviors. For some reason, I thought that was off of the deluxe version. Lenny Kravitz with Honey, Linkin Park with The Emptiness Machine, and 21 Pilots with The Contract. Now, maybe some of these are just, they are the biggest songs in rock, but a lot of these feel like, oh, these are just big name artists that have a song out this year, so they get nominated. These are the only rock bands I could think of. It's insane that Sleep Token wasn't considered for a nomination here. I mean, the numbers, whether you like Sleep Token or not, the numbers they were putting up were insane. And they were, whether you want to consider them rock or metal or not, they're definitely more than rock than Coldplay. I mean, come on. Fall in Reverse, another one. Again, if you, regardless of how you feel about Fall in Reverse, set that aside for a second and think about the fact of the song that he did with Marilyn Manson just did 20 million views on YouTube in 2 months or something like that. Obviously, I don't think that would count for the VMAs, but still, all of his other songs were getting crazy numbers as well. Also, last year, Lenny Kravitz, Green Day, and Coldplay were all nominated as well. So it seems like they just kind of rinsed and repeated this year. Swapped him back over, just moved him over to the next year. Almost probably didn't even erase their name from the old category. And on the Excel sheet, they probably just copied and pasted and just changed the song title. But, we got Evanescence in there. We got Linkin Park in there. I think these are not the best nominations across the board. I feel like you could, like I said, at least throw in Sleep Token or Fall in Reverse or something else besides the more of the legacy acts in there, like Lenny Kravitz and Coldplay. But, I'm not the one making decisions for the VMAs, obviously. I mean, and I probably won't be appointed to any board positions anytime soon. Not with this scathing takedown on the VMAs. No. Like I said, I loved the VMAs when I was a kid. I'll still watch it. I'll still check this out. I'm not trying to shit talk them too much. I just feel like a little more metal in here would be great. I would like to see some metal in here, but what did I say? We exist on the fringes, baby. We're on the outside. The counterculture. I got tattoos. I'm cool. Cool Guy Awards, too. Gotta get those going. Later. But let me know who you think should win this rock category. Coldplay, Evanescence, Green Day, Lenny Kravitz, Linkin Park, or 21 Pilots. Or the better question is, do you think the rock category will even be aired on TV? So another question we gotta talk about, or something we gotta figure out here is what Rod Stewart was doing. All right, some Ozzy Osbourne fans are upset at Rod Stewart over this bizarre AI video he did on his recent tour. So on Rod's current tour, which I love anybody named Rod, that's a fun name to say. On Rod's current tour, he's been dedicating the song Forever Young to Ozzy. And during the performance, an AI-generated video plays. And it's Ozzy posing for selfies in heaven with other rock stars like Kurt Cobain and Prince and XXXTentacion. And who else is there? Oh, Tupac, Tina Turner. There's a bunch of them. And, some fans have called this pretty tacky, a little disrespectful. Some just think it's playing weird as fuck. A lot of people just think it's very bizarre. And I don't think Rod was intending that at all. I don't think he was trying to upset Ozzy fans. I mean, Rod did know Ozzy personally. They were friends. So I think he was really trying to pay tribute to his, friend who passed away. And I've seen the drawings and the cartoons the people have done of Ozzy up in heaven, hang out with John Lennon and all that. And I don't, those don't bother me. I don't have any issues with that. And I don't have any issues with this either. I do think it's kind of weird. It's so lifelike. It's almost like, it's just a bizarre, creepy image of him not doing things that he wasn't doing, And I just think that's where it becomes kind of a, I don't know, like a murky waters, a little bit of a gray area. It's like a slippery slope, because I don't really care about that as much particularly. That's not something that really, bothers me, but it does lead you to believe that what else are they going to do at some point? Because AI is just going to keep getting better and better. And obviously this was a cool tribute to, or, cool or not cool, whatever you think about it. It was a tribute to Ozzy. But I mean, what if they start AI and Ozzy into hemorrhoids commercials one day? Ozzy Osbourne's doing a commercial for some kind of nicotine patch or something like that because, they've got all of his likeness and everything. They can just do that. And what's the difference between that and drawing a cartoon of Ozzy doing because that's the argument I get a lot on the comment section. Jason Pixler on YouTube, he commented on my video and said, if the drawings don't bother you, then why do the AI images bother you? They are literally the same. And I don't know, they're just not the same. They're just different. I mean, the AI is just far more lifelike, obviously, than a drawing or a cartoon. And maybe that's like, my boomer mentality. Maybe I'm my boomer millennialness is coming out. I don't know, but I think it's weird to be using someone's images and their likeness and morphing it that way to something where like you can't tell if it's actually them or not. I mean, if you see a cartoon, you see a drawing, it's not real. It's something somebody made. But when you see some of these AIs, some of these holograms and some of this stuff, it's like it looks so lifelike. It looks pretty real. A lot of people. That's the other part is too. The older community, the actual boomers and up on Facebook and whatnot that share this kind of stuff. A lot of times they're sharing things that they think are real. And it turns out that it's, something AI generated. And that's just going to keep getting worse as, AI stuff goes, which is funny. I did see someone comment as well that Rod likes this tribute because he's an older guy. He's the older demographic on Facebook that likes this kind of, AI imagery and, generated videos and whatnot. But like I said, the video doesn't actually bother me. I'm not pissed about it. I'm not getting the pitchfork out and saying we need to take down Rod Stewart. We need to end Rod Stewart's reign or anything like that. I just think it's weird. I don't think he should have done it. I don't think anybody should be doing it. I don't think everybody should be using AI to, manipulate the actions or words of anyone else without their consent, really. Again, it's different than a picture. It's different than a cartoon to me. It's the fact that a lot of people can't decipher the two is the problem. And I think that's where it gets to be a little gray, a little weird. And the part that's more unbelievable than Ozzy up in heaven with all these rock stars is the fact that, they think in these videos that he knows how to operate a selfie stick. And in these videos, he's using a selfie stick to take the pictures with these rock stars. That's the part that's more unbelievable. The man who famously battled remote controls and answering machines and all other kind of modern technology on the Osbournes. You think that guy knows how to hit the frontward-facing camera button on his iPhone? Come on, that's not happening. But let me know in the comments. Tell me, are you on board with these kind of tributes to rock stars, or you think we should just kind of let that stuff, go and not touch it, not manipulate the dead? Some new releases I want to talk about. Some new music releases. Fit for a King released a new album, Lonely God. They're pushing out the single Shelter right now. That band is blowing up. They're getting tons of streams. They're in my comment section. They're not in my comment section, but all of you, the Jesse Legion, are in my comment section telling me about Fit for a King and tell me I need to play more of them, need to talk about them more. So here I am talking about them more. I love Fit for a King. I do like them a lot. This new album is really good. Shelter's a solid track. I think it's only a matter of time before that band goes to the next level. I think they're well on their way. We Came as Romans have released a haunting new single, Where Did You Go? Along with this accompanying official music video. The track is one of their final songs. I'm guessing that it's going to be coming out their new album, All Is Beautiful Because We're Doomed. Love that album title. All Is Beautiful, because we're doomed. But that album's coming out on August 22nd. So I'm assuming this is probably the last single. Maybe there'll be another one. There'll probably be a new single on release day. Hayley Williams surprise released 17 songs. It's not an album. She did not release an album. She actually dropped 17 singles. So originally you could only hear these on her website. She has that hair dye company, Good Dye Young. She launched some kind of product, and if you bought the product, then you got access to this website where you could listen to the songs. And that was going on for, I think, a week. And now she actually put all the songs on streaming services. And she did say that she's, crowd surfing the ideas for her new album, because she says this is not an album. She doesn't want to present this as an album. It's more of like a choose your own adventure type thing. But the cool part is she does think physical media is important, which I 100% agree with. So because of that, she wants to still put it out as a full album. So she's open to ideas of what she should call it. But she did drop a music video today for the song Ego Death Trip. That's a cool band. Ego Death at a bachelorette party. And a lot of people think this song is about Morgan Wallen, because there's a line in this song that says, I'm the biggest star at this racist country singer's bar. And people think it's about Morgan Wallen because she recently did an interview, and for whatever reason they asked her about all these Nashville bars. Every country artist has a bar in Nashville right now. It's like the big thing. I haven't been to any of them, but I hear they're a good time if you're into that music and if you're into drinking copious amounts of alcohol, which I'm into both those things most of the time. So I'm on board for checking them out. But she says they suck. Haley Williams says they're all awful. They're all terrible. She doesn't like any of them. And they asked her, like, what is their favorite? And she said, none. They're all terrible. And she did say her least favorite bar on that strip, though, is the Morgan Wallen bar. So that makes a lot of people feel like this interview is with Stereo Gum, by the way, if you want to go check it out. But because of that and the song or the lyric, I'm the biggest star at this racist country bars. Sorry, I'm the biggest star at this racist country singers bar. Because of that and the interview, a lot of people think she's talking about Morgan Wallen in that song. She could just be, I could be a blanket lyric, though. She could just be talking about all the country bars down there. Maybe she, has issues with all of them, or maybe they all have, a sordid past. I don't know exactly who has country bars there. I don't know what kind of turmoil they've been in their past, what kind of drama they've been into, but it could be a blanket statement. Who knows? AFI delivered their first new bit of music in over 4 years. It's a gothy little post-punk jam called Behind the Clock, and they announced the album Silver Bleeds the Black Sun, ... It's a cool title. Silver Bleeds the Black Sun. That's going to be out on October 3rd. And the new song Behind the Clock is good. It's like I said, kind of like a gothy post-punk. I mean, Davey Havok, I'm going to put a picture of him on the screen real quick if you have the ability to look at your phone or computer right now. Check it out. Tablet, whatever you're viewing, listening to this on. I'm going to put up a picture of Davey Havok because he looks like he's in his gothic Frank Zappa mustachioed era. It's very cool. I was not expecting this remake, this makeover of Davey Havok. It's pretty sweet. I'm just jealous that he still has all those flowing locks of hair. Lucky cat there. Obviously, I'm follically challenged, as you can tell. So anytime I see a good head of hair, it's not that I'm jealous, I guess. I appreciate it. I can, I'm not envious. I'm just, I'm appreciative. All right. I can acknowledge it. That's a good head of hair. And the mustache looks great. So good job, Davey Havok, on the new look. And the new song is good. It's all right. I mean, it's not like great I've only listened to it one time, but it didn't really fluff my pillows, unfortunately. It might grow on me. I guess I'm more of like a AFI hipster when it comes to listening to AFI. I love the Art of Drowning, the All House EP, like the old punk stuff. I really loved, the later, like mid-era stuff with the more the emo adjacent sound, like the Miss Murder era, that kind of stuff. So that's when I listen to AFI, that's what I want to hear. That kind of like more punk emo sound of AFI. This is more leaning towards more of a gothier post-punk kind of slow down version of AFI. Again, not bad. It's just, will take some getting used to, I guess. Something that will take some getting used to is Oasis fans trying to curb their alcohol consumption at shows, because Oasis fans have set a new beer record at Wembley Stadium. The venue says they served up over 250,000 pints at the band's reunion show, which is impressive. But I mean, I would like to know how many were actually drank, because they said they served up 250,000 pints, but how many were actually drank versus dropped or thrown up on or spilled on some baddie at a show, and then her boyfriend kicked his ass or arse, because it's the UK. Hopefully not related, though. A 40-year-old man fell to his death at this Oasis concert at London Wembley Stadium on Saturday night. So it's not clear exactly where he fell from, but some reports are saying from the upper tier. So I'm hoping this isn't connected to the impressive amount of alcohol he drank that night. And I hope, my condolences to his family. That sucks. Obviously, that's terrible to hear. I assume we'll be getting some more information on that soon. Silly Goose, the band Silly Goose, my favorite new metal upstarts. They are known for raising hell, playing shows in crazy locations after festivals. I've seen them in parking lots. They played a show in a Subway one time. Not like a Subway, where you transportation, but a Subway sandwich shop where you transport your hunger away because you get a good sandwich. Their gig after Lollapalooza this year, they set up shop at a BP gas station, and it ended with a free ride in a police car, which is funny because I just spoke to Jackson Foster, their frontman, recently at a show. We did a little quick interview, and I asked him how many times he's been arrested. And he's like, "Oh, we've been shut down a bunch, but I've never been arrested." And yeah, well, luck ran out, unfortunately. The band says they had permission to play there. The employees gave them permission to play, but then the gas station apparently changed their mind. Jackson said in a post, "To anyone curious, I got charged with criminal trespassing, which is BS because the employees of the gas station gave us permission to play. I'll be back in Chicago September 2nd to appear in court. I'll post a full video explaining when I get home." So I wonder who he talked to, though. He says the employees gave him permission. So, I mean, I don't think, the second shift part-timer who's in charge of rotating the taquitos and when the conveyor belt breaks, I don't think that guy is able to give you permission to play in their parking lot. So maybe that dude gave Silly Goose some bad information, some bad approval, and then is quickly taken away. I did laugh. Somebody pointed out, they're like, what if this was all just a publicity stunt? Because what if they just hired these caked up police officers to escort the band out of there and to fake arrest them? Speaking to the fact that the police officers had large booties, I guess. And you know what? Police officers can be caked up too, okay? And just because you get a job protecting and serving doesn't mean that booty goes away. So I think the arrest is legit. I'm going to believe the band on this one. Kelly Osbourne thanked fans for their support since Ozzy passed. She wrote in a post on Instagram, she said, "I've sat down." Wow, what a weird transition here. I'm talking about caked up police officers and then going into Kelly Osbourne mourning Ozzy. That was a weird transition, folks. I'm sorry about that. Anyway, she wrote, "I've sat down and wrote this 100 times. I still don't know if the words will ever feel enough, but from the bottom of my heart, thank you. The love, support, and beautiful messages I received from many of you have truly helped carry me through the hardest moment of my life. Every kind word, every shared memory, every bit of compassion has meant more to me than I can ever explain." She goes on to say, "Grief is a strange thing. It sneaks up on you in waves. I will not be okay for a while, but knowing my family are not alone in our pain makes a difference. I'm holding on tight to the love and the light and the legacy left behind. Thank you for being there. I love you all so much." Yeah, I mean, I've lost my dad too, and I know how that feels. I know what she means by grief coming in waves. It feels, especially early on, especially in the beginning, you feel fine some days, and other days you just do not. So I know she's going through it more so than anyone, not more so than anyone, but more so than we can even imagine, rather, because that's tough losing your dad, but especially, imagine losing your dad who's also Ozzy Osbourne, like one of the most famous people in the world that, was loved by so many. So you're constantly reminded of him every single day, not only as a normal person being reminded of somebody losing their father, but, the world at large, the internet around you reminding you of him. So that's got to be rough. And Ozzy was laid to rest last week, according to The Sun. Said around 110 of Ozzy's closest friends and family attended the funeral. He was laid to rest on their property in Ozzy's estate. And Black Sabbath bandmates were there. Zakk Wylde, Metallica's James Hetfield, Rob Trujillo, Youngblood, Sir Elton John, Slipknot's Corey Taylor, Rob Zombie, Marilyn Manson. Those were all there. There were some other ones, I believe, but those were all that were listed. And I didn't share any photos of the actual funeral when this happened last week. I shared pictures of people at the fans there, to mourn, not really mourn, but I shared the photos of the procession, but not of the actual family. There, I know a lot of outlets did that, and I'm not trying to knock anyone down for doing that. It felt weird when I saw pictures of Sharon crying and Jack and Kelly looking all sad. I don't know. I just don't feel like we need to post that kind of stuff. I feel like we don't need to share photos of the family crying at the day their father's being buried. But so I guess a lot of people probably do want to see that. And also the cause of death was revealed just today, actually, as the time I'm recording this. His official cause of death was a heart attack. Again, that's not something I feel like I needed to make a post about. I'm not something I really need to talk about, put out there. I don't think we really need to know the exact cause of death. I mean, it was, he had a lot of health problems towards the end. But if you're interested, that is the official cause of death, the heart attack, cardiac arrest. And man, that is, we got real sad here towards the end. You know, we spiraled down some dark paths here. Let's pick it up with the Q&A, huh?
Dig in my DMs and burn through your comments and answer the questions that you're pondering.
All right, username JEPRASETIO, Jeprasitio on Instagram said, you probably explained this already, but how do you rank the weekly top alt rock so my top 10 trending tracks this week from rock to metal. Yeah, that's all voted. That's all based on votes. Everyone that every week I have an Excel spreadsheet that all the votes go to. I just count them up. Like I said in the video, that's just not me. That's not just me blowing smoke up your arse. Okay, when every week you can go to the link in my bio on Instagram, TikTok, whatever. There's a link to vote for your favorite track of the top 10, and I count them up at the end of the week, and that's how they're ranked. Steven Ramirez 89 on Instagram said, "Who's your favorite wrestlers?" Well, my favorite is, I guess, of all time would be Stone Cold Steve Austin. I got this tattoo, got the smoking skull tattoo. It is funny though because I have this tattoo, and of course I have multiple Austin 316 shirts. But now I almost don't even want to wear my Austin 316 shirts with the smoking skull on them because I have the tattoo now. I feel like a weirdo if I have that tattoo and the t-shirt on. I don't know. I just feel like people would look at me and be like, man, that guy really loves Stone Cold. And I do, but I just don't want people to know how much. Okay, I'm going to keep that a secret. Other wrestlers, all the GOATs. The Rock, Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, obviously. If we were talking about somebody, some wrestlers don't get talked about enough, maybe the Hardy Boys. Love the Big Show. I thought he was cool. The Big Show had a great show on Netflix for little kids called The Big Show. My son loves it. We watched it all the time. I like that a lot. Newer wrestlers, I love CM Punk, which is not new. He's been around for a long time, but I guess people who are wrestling right now, I should say, CM Punk. Seth Rollins. Rollins is fantastic. Jacob Fatu is so good. I'm a big fan of Jacob Fatu. Also, if you have not watched SummerSlam yet from this past weekend, go check it out. There was a lot of great matches on there. I'm going to stop talking about wrestling now. You didn't tune in for wrestling talk, but yeah. Rick Che on Spotify said, can we get a Metallica Super Bowl halftime show yet? FFS, which I believe means for fuck's sake. Yeah, I mean, Metallica has said before that they probably won't ever play the Super Bowl because they're not a Super Bowl band, because they're not the kind of band that would look good on TV on the Super Bowl because they don't jump around and fly around and dance and all that stuff. They just play their music. But I don't know. I feel like they would still kick ass. I feel like they have enough pyro and enough like explosions going on, and they enough like, they could do some backdrop with some video and stuff like that. I feel like Metallica just plays and other people do shit around them. If they really do need the spectacle, if the Super Bowl really does need the spectacle happening, then just have people doing crazy shit while Metallica plays. Like, I mean, think about one of the greatest halftime shows of all time, when Creed played the Thanksgiving Bowl it wasn't a Super Bowl, it was like a Thanksgiving Day football game, and Creed played. They, for the most part, they just played their songs. It was everyone around them, all the acrobats flying around on like angels while they played. That was, that's what all they would have to do. But again, rock and metal exists on the fringes, all right? So maybe they won't ever be a halftime band. Charmaine on Spotify asked, will you be my dad? Well, Charmaine, I'm not really looking to increase my family at the moment. I'm not really looking to add any members. I'm always happy to adopt new members for the music news daddy part of my life. If you're looking to be informed on what's going on in the music world in a very half-assed way with lots of dick jokes and fart jokes, then yeah, the music news daddy will happily adopt you. As far as living in my house and eating my hot pockets, no, I don't think I can do that right now. It's I don't think it's in the budget, unfortunately, at the moment. But I do appreciate your interest in me being your father, and I'll always be your music news daddy. Solska, SOLSCA 6323 on YouTube said, are there any underrated bands you think people should pay more attention to? Off the top of my head, let's go to The Funeral Portrait, Sleep Theory, Keith Wallen. If you like some butt rock in your life, he's awesome. Of course, if you listen to me on Sirius XM Octane, then you probably are already familiar with those bands. But I feel like they are definitely underrated. They're not bands that are, headlining these big festivals yet. And one day they 100% will be. Like, mark my words, Sleep Theory, Funeral Portrait, I'll throw Keith Wall in there too. Those will be headlining artists on big festivals one day. They do, and I mean that's just tipping the, scratching the surface. That's just the tip, baby, of some of the great newer rock and metal bands that we play on Octane. And I mean, I can't. That's off the top of my head. Thornhill, another great band. Thornhill's fantastic. They just announced they're going to be they're the opening band for Sleep Token's upcoming U.S. tour. So I'm very excited to catch. I wanted to see that Sleep Token tour anyway when it came through Cleveland. But now I get a chance to see Thornhill as well, and I think Thornhill's doing a lot of great stuff. I think they're a fantastic band, and I see big things from them, especially after this tour with Sleep Token. I mean, that's gonna strap a fucking rocket ship to their asshole and send them to the moon. I don't know why I had to get so abrasive there, but yeah, they're gonna do well. As far as older bands that are underrated, I don't know if we're just talking strictly about new bands, but older bands, Motion City Soundtrack. Okay. Talked about this a little bit last week, but I know Motion City Soundtrack is popular. I know people know who they are for the most part. They're a pretty big band, but they should be bigger. All right, I've said this before. Motion City Soundtrack is one of my favorite bands of all time. And I was going back celebrating the catalog recently. I'm like, man, this band should be Blink-182 levels big. This band should be Green Day big. Motion City Soundtrack is so good. They do not get enough love, enough respect, enough listeners. I mean, how many streams does Motion City have? I almost wrote Motion Titty Soundtrack. Yeah, 844,000. So again, not a small band by any means, but less than 1 million. They should have well over that. Well over that. Love me some Motion City. Let's see, last question here. Where we got? Who's this coming from? This is from The Mold Andy. The Mold, M-O-U-L-D, The Mold Andy, or The Mold Dandy. It's either Mold Andy or The Mold Dandy, but either way, they ask, would you consider Sleep Token as metal, including any subgenres of metal? Man, that is always the $1 million question when it comes to Sleep Token, right? Like, are they really a metal band? Are they even a rock band? They're not a traditional metal band, obviously. Like, if you're talking to someone who's a big fan of Slayer, and you're like, hey, let me play this new metal band, and then you play them Sleep Token, like, they're probably going to twist your nipples until you get away from them. They're not going to be happy about you, trying to shoehorn some Sleep Token in their playlist. But they obviously have metal elements. Sleep Token, you can't call them straight pop. You can't just call them a pop band. They have breakdowns, they have screaming, they have, jun guitars, jun, as we would say. They do the junts. Okay, they have metal elements to them. And it'd be like, let's say Taylor Swift released a song, and it was like her normal song for like the first verse, but then after that it switched and it was just like breakdowns and screamings and heavy, and it was metal. Like, you wouldn't say, you wouldn't say Taylor Swift released a pop song with a metal breakdown. You would say, oh my God, Taylor Swift released a metal song. It's more metal than it's not. So I guess it would, and I think it goes back both ways with Sleep Token. Yeah, is it a metal band? 100%? No, it has a lot of pop elements. It has even some hip hop elements to it as well. But as a whole, I think it's mostly rock and metal. I mean, it's most of the parts of it. Some of the parts I feel like make up metal. I mean, it is also worth noting that Sleep Token themselves never labeled themselves metal. They never said they were metal. Sleep Token hasn't said much at all, really. They don't really talk about themselves very much. They never, they're not going to label themselves as rock and metal. So it's kind of like, we've collectively put them in that box. We've kind of made them a metal band. And it's kind of like the whole thing, like, your vibe attracts your tribe or whatever. It's almost like the reverse of that. It's like, they've been surrounded. They've been on shows with rock and metal bands. They've toured with metal bands. They've been on these festivals. They're, respected by rock and metal musicians, so they kind of get lumped in that category. So I think baddiecore is still the most appropriate term for them. I think that's still the best classification. Nick Nocturnal and Craig Reynolds, actually, from Straight from the Path and the Downbeat podcast, he originally coined it, and then Nick Nocturnal kind of took it worldwide, so to speak, and then made a whole category out of it as Nick Nocturnal Awards. But baddiecore, it's kind of like metalcore music, but with enough, enough sexiness that hot normies can like it. I think that's probably a more accurate description of the band. But maybe just metalcore, I guess, progressive metal. You definitely have to give them some credit for their rock and metal. You can't call them a straight pop band, I feel like you cannot just call Sleep Token a pop band or a hip hop band, but they're hard bands pinned down. They're hard bands to nail down as genre wise. But I would definitely say, to answer your question, what was his name? The Mole Dandy. Yeah, I would consider them at least in the metal category. I wouldn't call them a metal band, but I would put them, if we're tagging them, you know, you can put some different genres tags on them. I'm gonna throw metal on there. That's my final roundabout way to answer that. All right. Well, I've had a great time hanging out with you. If you have any questions for me for next week, if you want to get in on this fun, if you want to be an official part of the Jesse Legion, all you gotta do is leave a question in the comment section on YouTube, Spotify, or hit me up at Jesse Lee on TikTok and Instagram. And you leave them there, ask me there, and I'll get them for next week. Above all else, make sure to please share this podcast episode with somebody that doesn't suck. All right? I'll see you next Wednesday. Take it easy now, and bye-bye.
The Jesse Lee Show.